Section 1.4, the distributive property. The distributive property, first we're going to multiply A times each thing in the parentheses. So you distribute the A, and you multiply A times B. That sign is a plus sign, so it's plus A times C. Now on the second one, the A is behind the parentheses, so you still do it the same way. You distribute the A times B, or B times A, same thing. I just say AB, plus AC. That is basically the formula. Now let's look at example 2A. We are going to distribute 2 times each term in that parentheses. 2 times x is 2x, plus, that is a plus sign, 2 times 5 is 10. Example B, the x is behind the parentheses, so we distribute the x. X times x is x squared. That's a minus sign, and then x times 4 is 4x. Now you try to do example C and D. Let's look at example 3. Now, you got to be careful about the signs. That is a negative 3, so we are distributing the negative. So we're multiplying by a negative. Negative 3 times x is a negative 3x. And negative 3 times a positive 4 is a negative 12. When we go to write it, we write it as a minus 12 because negative means minus. Minus 12. Example B, we are distributing the negative 4. Negative 4 times y is a negative 4y. And negative 4 times a positive 5 is a negative 20. And once again, we don't write it as plus a negative 20. We write it as minus 20. Example C, when you just have a negative in front of the parentheses, you distribute that negative. And again, you're multiplying. That's a negative times a positive 6 is a negative 6. Or the shortcut is when you have a negative in front of the parentheses, basically it changes the sign of every term in that parentheses. So it changes that positive 6 to a negative 6, and it changes the negative 3x to a positive 3x. Another way you could do this is rewrite it putting a 1. Replacing just instead of the negative, just having negative 1. Then distribute that out. Negative 1 times 6 is a negative 6. Negative 1 times a negative 3x is a positive 3x. You get the same thing. Example D, we're going to multiply negative 9x times x and get negative 9x squared, because when you multiply x times x, you get x squared. Then we're going to multiply negative 9x times a negative 1. Negative times a negative is a positive 9x. Example 4, we're going to distribute the 7 times 3w and get 21w minus 35. And in example B, we have 3 terms, so we have to distribute that 4 times all 3 terms. 4 times 6v is 24v squared. 4 times a positive v is a positive 4v. And 4 times negative 3 is a negative 12. Example C, we are distributing the negative 3 times each term in that parentheses. Negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6x. And it's just negative 6. Negative 3 times a negative 5x is a positive 15x. Okay, you try to do example D on your own. Example 5, combining like terms. If we have variables that have the exact same variable, those are called like terms. And what you do is you just combine the coefficient. Remember that coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So that's a positive 3x, and that minus 4x is saying it's a minus means negative, so that's a negative 4x. Positive 3 and a negative 4 is a negative 1. It's a negative 1x, or you could just say negative x. Doesn't matter. We don't have anything to combine the 6 with, so we bring it down. In example B, I'm going to combine the 4x squared and the negative x squared. 4x squared and a negative x squared, or a negative 1x squared, is 3x squared. You don't add the exponents. You only add the coefficient. Once again, the coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So we get 3x squared. I don't have anything to combine the two with, so I bring it down. Example C, I'm distributing the negative 2 in front of that parentheses. That 3 does not have anything to do with the parentheses. I'm just going to bring the 3 down, and then I'm going to distribute the negative 2. It says on there minus 2, but remember, minus 2 is the same thing as negative 2. So we distribute the negative 2. This is where a lot of people mess up. They ignore that minus sign. It goes with the 2. So you have to really make sure that you focus your eyes and make sure that it's a negative 2, not just a positive 2. So negative 2 times 4 is a negative 8x, or excuse me, negative 8. And then negative 2 times positive x is a negative 2x. Example D, in front of that parentheses is a negative sign. That negative 2 does not have anything to do with the parentheses, so we're just going to bring it down. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back to example C. I forgot to combine like terms. Positive 3 and a negative 8 is a negative 5, and bring down the negative 2x. Okay, now back to D. I'm going to bring down the negative 2. I'm going to distribute the negative out. When you distribute a negative in front of the parentheses, it changes the sign of each term. Now I'm going to combine like terms. I'm going to combine negative 2 and a negative 5 and get negative 7, but I'm going to bring the x down first. Okay, example 6. Use the expression twice the difference of 3x and y increased by 5 times the sum of x and 2y. Let's read that again. Use the expression twice the difference of 3x and y. Look at the difference of 3x and y. How do we write the difference of 3x and y? 3x minus y. Now, we have to multiply twice all of that. So we have to enclose that in parentheses and put a 2 in front. Then increased means plus. 5 times the sum of x and 2y. Sum means to add. So I've got to add x plus 2y. And then I'm going to have to multiply 5 times all of that stuff. So I'm going to have to put all that stuff in parentheses. Now I need to simplify by doing the order of operations. So I'm going to... I'm going to do the distributive property, get 6x minus 2y. Then I'm going to combine like terms, and when you combine like terms, you want to combine alphabetically. So I'm going to combine 6x plus 5x and negative 2y plus 10y and get positive 8y. And that is the end of section 1.4.